All right, the time is now 7 p.m. Eric Coffee here live from Puerto Rico. I'm staying in Mayaguez, Puerto Rico. It's on the west side of the island, and there was a lot of devastation here. It's a smaller town, and so we're here working in the cities of Anasco, Rubias, and Aguadilla, and helping out with some of the disaster relief efforts. I'm here with Team Vineyard, the Vineyard churches, and so that's where we're staying at. We've got food and water and shelter, and a lot of people in the areas, including the senior pastor, do not. So that's where we're at today. Checking in. Welcome. Glad you could be here with me today. As always, we'll give people a few minutes before they come in. So if you're out there, if you're watching, you're just joining us, welcome to today's session. I know I didn't go out, I didn't send an email out. Um, wasn't sure if I'd be able to make it, but I'm here and I'm happy for all those that can join me today. All right, guys. So if you have any questions, shoot me a message in the chat. As always, we will be here answering your questions live. This is my live scorecontracts.com question and answer session, and I'm making this available for you every Tuesday and Thursday. So check it in, guys. Hey, Charles, welcome. Chilzo, peace. Natasha, glad to have you. Greetings. Um, yeah, so a little bit about what we've been doing, just kind of letting you guys know. We've tarped some roofs. If you see in that photo I've got in the background, that's a gentleman's house we went by today to assess his situation. We actually went up to this place on there. It's called Rubia's, and it's up in the mountains, which is why the view is actually beautiful. But as you know, as you're in the mountains, you've got mudslides and torrential downpours and things like that. So the people in that community were actually trapped for about 12 days, and they didn't have any access to communication, food, water, things like that. So um, we had a chance to go up there, take them some hot meals, take them solar lights, batteries, and things of that nature. Corbin, welcome. Hey, what's going on, brother? All right. So yeah, but it was a good experience for everybody. We had a really good time. So like I said, today we are here again, live Govcon training, day 7, user FAQ and answers, Mayaguez, Puerto Rico, and we're just giving it a couple minutes before we get started. All right. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. Did anyone take a look at the video that I posted yesterday, last night, on the contract that we were helping work through and put together the proposal numbers and went through my thought process and processing? Charles, I'm sure you probably saw it. I sent out an email. It was a video we were going through and helping some of the Govcon Giants team members work together through the thought process of bidding a job. And like I said, I spent some time helping these guys go through some of this stuff, and I posted that last night. It did pretty well so far. I've gotten a good response, and I still have the consultant video. I promise you guys, it's coming. No worries, it's coming. So yeah, glad you saw it, Charles. The thing is, um, a lot of times, people are concerned about pricing the job too low, and that's it's wonderful when I'm sorry, too high, and versus too low, and it's wonderful the idea that you want to get your first contract, and I'm happy that people are excited, but at the same time, I want you to be mindful that you can get yourself in trouble. There is inherent risk in every project. Everything does not go as planned, and so given that those factors, I want people to be consider that, and I'd rather lose the opportunity than to risk getting the job and at the same time you know, uh, potentially having a mistake that cost me, more money than the job had in it to bid for. So that was kind of the idea behind that. Was just like I said, we're just, I wanted him to know that this project, even though, um, it was around, a six-figure job. In the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot of money, and the risk was greater than the markup that he wanted to put on the job. I do not know the outcome. I have not followed up with him to see what the outcome was. I will do so and let you guys know. But we have been receiving some really good feedback from some of the members, some good stories that we will discuss and share. I did not have the opportunity today, like always, to put together slides and with the questions on it, just because, like I said, where we went up in the mountains was about 2 hours from where we're actually living at. And so by the time we went up there, set up everything, and fed the people, it was a lot of time traveling, and so I didn't have a chance to put together the slides today. And then last night after we finished there, we went over and did some, I don't know what you call it, like we were swimming with like live plankton or something. I don't know, some glow in the dark microorganisms in the water. It was pretty cool. I'll show you guys the pics. Freelance Nancy, hey, how are you? By the way, I see more people joining us. If you're here, say hi. Give me a shout out. I'm actually a little tired, by the way, today, so I apologize, and I'm definitely scruffy from being up here and not having access to everything. All right, guys. So, um, let me start off today. Like I said, I don't have the questions to post, so we're just going to leave that screenshot in the background. I'm just going to kind of talk through some of these questions that I have from people, um, and let you know. So, as always, if you have any direct solicitations, you can call me. I gave you guys my contact information in the last video. It's if you can reach me on Skype. Let me see if I still have that here. I do not, so I'll write it. I have been receiving several calls from people that are receiving direct solicitations from the government, and that's amazing, and I'm happy to have it. But this is my Skype information, Evan Coff Dev. Add me on Skype. I've received a few people that have gotten maybe 3 or 4 direct solicitations from the government based on some of the tools and techniques that I've shared in my Govcon Giants training course. So it's working for people out there, just sharing some of the, we want to experience share some of the stories. So if you guys out there have that available, unfortunately, this is a unique situation for me. I'm out this week, but normally, um, I'm available to you guys. So this is a unique situation. Obviously, hurricanes don't come around all the time, and I don't, typically do disaster relief activities, but I felt the calling to come out and do this one. So I'm really happy to be here. Super excited, and at the same time, it's nurturing for the body and the soul, and so it's a bunch of positives. Uh, Kiana, hey, how's it going? Welcome. Freelance Nancy, super excited. Just got my service disabled veteran from Vet Biz. Great. Did you do it yourself, by the way? Freelance Nancy? Yeah, I actually have a Vet Biz video. I'll probably drop that tomorrow for those of you who are concerned about doing your Vet Biz registration. I went through the process and I kind of walked through the first couple phases of it, helping my brother do it. So I'll share that with you guys. So that's great, Freelance Nancy. I'm excited you got it. Yes, you did it yourself. Perfect. I'm happy to hear that. I love when people do stuff themselves. Save yourself time, money, and then at the same time, you learn from your own experiences. So the first thing I want to mention is if you guys are in the GovCon Giants course, or if you sign up for the GovCon Giants course, I know a lot of people send me, and this is daily. Right now, we've had over 200 people that went through the GovCon Giants course, which I'm super proud. I'm super excited about. But at the same time, a lot of people send me emails and are asking me they didn't receive a video day 1, day 2, day 3, whatever it may be. Make sure that you guys, first of all, you add me to your safe senders list. You're going to need to add info@scorecontracts.com. Also, make sure that you're checking your spam folder, your promotions folder, or your VIP folder. Because a lot of times what will happen is my videos, because they are emails, and I am sending out literally now, I think we're up to about 500 people on my email list, which is excellent. I'm excited. I remember when, I was just at my 100th subscriber mark. Today we've over day 4 or day 7. It's like all the other videos were emailed to you as well. They just necessarily didn't end up in your direct inbox. All right, so check that. I want to make sure. And going to the first question comment, like I said, for all you guys who are just joining us, I see new people are coming on. Like I said, I didn't have time to put together the slides, so I'm just going to kind of talk from this one slideshow and go through the questions that I have today. We've got about 13 questions that I'm going to answer, so bear with me. Does everyone hear me okay? I suspect so because I haven't heard any complaints. It looks like I'm streaming. My health is good. It's green, so that's excellent news. So the first question I have today, Eric, I've switched over this email address, no longer utilize it for my account, for my business. So he switched over from using a Gmail account to an actual email account that represents the name of his business. That's great. This person says, Guru is a blessing. I've already had 3 jobs pending. Thanks, Jeffrey. If you've watched when you first get started, you want to make sure, like I said, you're doing a capability statement and you want to change it over to a professional email address. I recommend guru.com or Upwork. I do have a video on that. It's building, crafting your capability statement. So that was good. I'm happy to hear that. All right. And so, like I said, this in this particular case, this person already used Guru to start working on his capability statement, and he had 3 jobs pending. So, you know, if you're out there, if you guys are putting together your capability statement, make sure when you're putting together your marketing, you're using a professional email address, and you're using people who are experts in creating and making these documents look professional, because it will make a difference in the long term. All right, I'm having a hard time. No, question number 2. I'm having a hard time finding IT contracts that I can do since I'm a one-man shop with a full-time job. TM. All right, on this particular question, again, same thing. When I spoke to this person regarding these IT contracts, they had previously worked as an IT consultant at the veterans hospitals. And so when we did the call and I spoke to them about the IT contracts, I go, well, if you worked at the VA hospitals as an IT consultant, don't you have access to the VA hospitals because you were a subcontractor? And he said, yes. So I said, okay, well, why don't you go back to the VA hospitals in that case and find out who are the prime contractors that are now awarded the jobs, get their names and their numbers, and then solicit them for work because you already have access. And so that was in this particular question scenario, that's what I proposed to them and said, hey, listen, if you've already worked as a subcontractor or consultant, or even like for in his case, he was a third tier sub, which means there was some major conglomerate company that got the big contract. They then subbed it out to a smaller firm that maybe, let's say, 50 per person firm, and then that second party then subbed it out to this person along with a bunch of other people. So he was just like a 1090 associate. And so in a case, I go, well, as a 1090 associate, you have access to the VA hospitals. You obviously passed the clearance. So with that being said, go back to the prime because the first tier contractor lost their job, the contract. So I go back to the contracting officer and find out, who's the new prime contractor on this job, and then speak with them to get the name and the number of the point of contact, and then call them and see if you can be a direct sub on this particular IT contract. And so that was the advice I gave to this person on that. Let's see, Natasha has a question. Today I was told by a sales rep that it could not give me a quote because I was not able to give him a ship to address. I felt as if he was being difficult. What do you suggest in that situation? Well, in that particular situation, I mean, I could understand if someone couldn't give you a quote because you didn't give a ship to address, because a lot of times, depending upon what the product is, I mean, maybe it was shipping was involved, and so to complete a actual, a physical quote, they had to factor that in. So what I mean, why? I guess my question to you would be, why could you not provide him with a ship to address? Um, before you even answer, just my thought process would be maybe you didn't have a physical address. But what I would do in Natasha's situation, let's say that the government, you're in a situation, so you're quoting a product that's just a ship to the government. The government has not told you the physical address where it's going. I would give them an address to a location that was close by, is what I would do in that particular case. Until you won the contract or were awarded the contract, and you knew the exact location. If you know the city, state, or zip code, I mean, I would give them a location to something nearby that facility, because whoever you're quoting this job for, it's got to be shipped to that particular facility. I'm assuming, or we're not. Let me retract that, because the government ships it anywhere. But they're going to tell you wherever the final destination is or the vicinity of the final destination. So what I would do is I would go ahead and give them a quote. I would ask for a quote based on an address that was close to or similar to the final destination. Back when I had that same challenge, like for example, Natasha, that's actually a good question. When I used to work down at Homestead Air Force Base, they didn't have address. It was very weird. Like the address was always Homestead Air Force Base. So I would give them an address to like the 7-Eleven that was right outside the base, and that was close enough. And then what we, because a lot of times they couldn't get access to the base anyways without an escort. So if it was someone that was new and didn't know the protocol, I would just give them an address to the 7-Eleven right outside the base, and that was pretty much close enough where we could escort them in, and or depending upon what it is, we may be able to receive that package, and then take it in ourselves. All right. Question number 3. Hey Eric, I'm 22 years old, located in Palm Beach County. I'm a full-time student. I'm always looking for a way to make money. I found out about government contracts and I'm super interested. I know I probably can't do any of these because I'm not a business owner, but found a contract where I could easily get supplies at a very affordable price and put together a deal. Is there any way I could start a small business at my age or get other businesses to fulfill their orders while still making a profit for myself? Here's a link to the contract I'm looking at, Joshua. And my response to him was, "Hey, age is irrelevant. You guys know, um, it doesn't matter what age you are. There's no prerequisites on this stuff. So yeah, 22 years old, you're more than qualified to be able to do a contract. They allow you to create business corporations. In fact, when you create your entity as a corporation, they don't ask you how old you are. That's not a requirement on forming an LLC. Um, so like I said, forming a corporation is a couple $100. Creating an EIN number, they don't ask for age. DUNS number, same thing, registering to SAM. None of that stuff, they ask for age. So putting together a bid, it just only involves really your sweat equity, which is your time. So, yeah, a supplier can fulfill your order and you can complete the paperwork. So to me, it sounds like a winning formula. All right. You're welcome, Natasha. Great. Yeah. And again, um, when you're out here and you're getting started, it may, there are some vendors that are going to, question you, especially if you've never worked with them in the past. But, don't get discouraged. Um, because the reality is you may have to use that vendor. Um, but like I said, because the government may tell you you have to use that particular vendor, so don't get discouraged. Just figure out a way around it and move forward. Because the bigger picture is where are we going, where we want to get to. And the objective is to win contracts, right? So don't let that vendor stand in the way between you and an opportunity of working with the government. I wouldn't even. Nah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't shy away. Again, like I told you guys before, one of my first contracts, when I had to price a job for a particular competitor's project, I actually I called the competitor and they gave me their price, and then I priced. Then I knew what the ballpark range was that they were going to be because they quoted me the job. So then I just found a comparable product that was cheaper, and then I turned that into the government and I beat them out. They protested the job, but at the end of the day, I still won. Hey Jazz, welcome. Glad to have you. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't be discouraged. Freelance Nancy. I'm having a hard time finding office administrative opportunities. I'm a certified notary in Texas. I'm looking to get opportunities where I can be outsourced office work for various agencies. Um, should I start with local contractors to gain performance experience like local jails who need notaries? No. Yeah, freelance Nancy. I'm not. Wait a second. Aren't you just got your service disabled veteran certification? All right. What I would suggest, freelance Nancy, is, by the way, guys, I'll go back over this question. So she just earlier, I believe she said in the chat that she became service disabled veteran certified. I would not start working with local contracts to gain experience. I would start up working as a subcontractor to gain experience under federal jobs. A local contract is not going to help you gain any experience to working on federal projects. No one that I know that does local city contracts, they're not the same people who do federal projects. So no, that will not help you gain experience in the federal marketplace. What will help you gain experience on the other hand is working as a subcontractor to major parties. Now, I don't know what your office administrator. I don't know what that those NAICS codes look like, but have you tried looking up to see who's got comparable projects that within your NAICS code? That would be the first question. And then the second question was, why not also expand beyond just looking up office administrative opportunities? Why not expand to if you've taken my course, go back and look at day 12 implementation. What I would say is, you may want to expand if your scope right beyond just looking at office administrative opportunities because you know let's say, and I've given this example in the past, if you're a roofer and you only focus on roofing, there may not be any roofing opportunities in this particular moment. But if you were to expand beyond that, and let's say you did metal roofs and you said, okay, I could do metal wall panels, that may open up the spectrum. And so in your case, if you're looking at office administrative, I don't think notary services are like needed as much. So that may not be something that's particularly widely available for contract. But if you were to look at maybe providing staffing services in terms of office administrative staffing to agencies, that may be a more like broader scope that you can offer, and I'm sure they need that all day long. I know for a fact that staffing for nurses and doctors and other services like that, the government's looking for that every day. So I would suggest that you maybe if notary seems like a very limited scope. I would suggest expanding your scope of services to include a wider range so that you could be available to agencies as you need, and then kind of figure it out. It's all project management at the end of the day, anyways, and it's all the same paperwork. So I wouldn't be afraid of it. I would just look at the scopes and then kind of work backwards from there. But yeah, go to day 12 implementation on my Govcon Giants course. Tell Dixon, hey, what's up? Glad to have you. All right, question number 4. Hello, I have a question. I just started my cleaning company. Um, and I want to register with sam.gov, but it's asking me for a DUNS number. I have an EIN. I'm just wondering if I should get a DUNS number as well. I'm not sure if it matters in both. Yeah, go back and I suggest anyone who has those questions about Sam DUNS number to just watch some of my older videos. I've already answered this stuff in some of the older videos, so just go back and watch my video on DUNS number, and it tells you all about it. But basically, it's once you get your EIN, you can get your DUNS number. It's the same. It's same thing. It's EIN is your tax ID. DUNS number is used in the federal for your business credit, and that's what the government uses. Number 5, fantastic video. Number 6, ways to make money on FBO. My name is Steve. I started my company back in 2014. FBO site will, you know better than anyone else that the FBO site, along with all other qualifying sites, Sam's done, can be overwhelming to newcomers. I haven't actually bid for anything yet. In fact, after seeing what was out there, I went back to run off my IT portfolio in order to be more marketable and competitive with other potential contractors. Um, I don't see a question in there. Da, 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 da. Yeah. So if you guys are hung up on I don't see a question. I'm looking for a question. Do, 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 do. Well, looking at this comment, the person said they went to round off their IT portfolio. Right now, I wouldn't tell anyone to go back to school to get any additional certifications or to learn any new skills. I believe that we all have the ability to, execute um, on these contracts given the skills that we already have in place. If you have the ability to identify qualified persons to do the work, then you have the ability to do government contracts. So my comment to this person would be, you know, most of us are in the workplace now, so we've worked around people that we didn't like. We've worked around people that we did like. We've had great bosses. We've had bad bosses. And so what I would say is that, based on your existing experiences and, being in the workplace, you have enough experience already to start doing contracts with the government. Because essentially, if you want to take some form of education, I would say maybe project management. That would be the best thing you could learn is how to, organize. If you've never done that before, is how to organize yourself and other people to work together cooperatively to execute a project. But other than that, I don't think you need to go out and actually learn about IT or learn, become an expert in any particular arena because there's enough people, companies, firms out there that are already experts in these arenas. And my thing is just to find who they are, identify them, and partner with them to execute on some of these contracts. So I would not encourage anybody to go back and take any business courses or master's classes or anything like that to start doing government work. In fact, I got a friend of mine and she told me she's going to master's, getting her master's degree. And so for that reason, she couldn't start a business. And I thought that was just an excuse and fear that was driving her decision. It wasn't actual the fact that she wanted to learn because there was nothing that a master's degree was going to do to help you prepare to do government contracts. All right. Taryn Arias, hey, how's it going, buddy? He said, how do I change my primary NAICS code? That's in the SAM website. If you're talking about SAM, you go back into SAM's website and it'll let you rearrange your NAICS codes. So I don't think that's much of a challenge. Just go back into you may have to go back through from start to finish in SAM, but yeah, you just go back in SAM and it'll let you rearrange your NAICS codes. Is update them. In fact, you may have to add some NAICS codes and then delete that primary one just so that the second one goes up into the primary spot and then re-add it later. All right. So that's more of a technical thing. I don't really get into that stuff, but I know it's very possible and it's easy to do. And if you have any questions, call the 1-800 number. Sam.gov does have a 1-800 number that you can call, and they're very helpful. They'll walk you through that process. But yeah, that's really easy to do. The only time you can't change your primary NAICS code is once you are already certified. Like, so once you've already obtained, for example, freelance Nancy, she's a certified veteran business. She already has a primary NAICS code under that certification. So that's where it's you can't change the primary NAICS code. But until you guys have been certified as a small business, you can change your NAICS code at any point. All right. Question number 6. Hello, I seen one of your videos on YouTube and I find them really helpful. I was wondering if you can give me some advice on how to get contracts for sandblasting and other niche markets. So if you guys, you want to get into niche markets, same thing. You have to first identify who's your customer, who's your client. Go back and watch my video on who buys what I sell to the government. Same process. You go back, you identify your NAICS code, you find out who's buying your services, you find out where they're at, and then you go back and identify the forecast list and you start talking to them. All that I cover in my Govcon Giants course here. So, if you have not already signed up for the Govcon Giants course, sign up for it. Again, like I said, I go through all this stuff. I go through A through Z, right, on how to do these things. So just sign up for the course, and it'll walk you through it. Question number 7. This actually comes from Shawnee. You're welcome, Tharan, by the way. Question number 7, Shawnee. I don't see you're in here today. I know you asked me this on the last question. So Shawnee is she's one of the first people to join my GovCon Giants private Facebook group, and she went through the course. And so she went out, and we're going to share her story. She actually went out and met with some contracting officers, and they actually invited them to the Christmas party event with other procurement professionals. And so that's a great story. I'm very proud of her for talking to the small business person, following up, and setting herself up, and actually having a meeting with the people who are giving the contracts. Because remember, guys, if you're not talking to the decision makers who are going to be issuing out the contracts, you're never going to put yourself in a position to get a sole source award or get a set aside contract or to get a contract that's directly given to you, right, under the of any of these small business programs or any under the federal rules for acquisition. So if you guys are not out there talking to the people and you're not making yourselves known, then no one is going to actually be able to help you, right? Because essentially you're a ghost business and no one knows who you are or what you do. So you've got to get out there. You've got to find out who are the procurement officers, the small business specialists. You got to go to the networking events. You got to go to the conferences. And so in this case, she actually reached out like I did, set up a meeting, went out there, took her capability statement, had the meeting, and then they invited her to the Christmas party. And then she asked me what should she bring, and I don't know if it's a potluck dinner. I'm not really new. I don't have any of the details, but I would say is obviously you always want to be ready for any opportunity because you don't know who's going to be there, who's going to be in the room, what other prime contractors are going to be in the room, what other procurement officials are going to be in the room. So I would definitely always have a folder with my capability statement ready to go for anyone who may ask about it. Any other certifications or anything that puts me apart, awards, recognitions, anything that sets me apart from the next guy, I would have that information available. Um, and then, like I said, depending upon the party, the event, if they ask you to bring a dish, you bring a dish. If not, then I wouldn't bring anything because remember this: the government, there are rules for gifting government agents, so you're not allowed to actually give them a gift. So you want to be careful that you don't, try and bring like, if there's a gift exchange or anything like that, you're most likely not able to participate in because there are rules against those type of things because they don't want you influencing government officials and they don't want you to think they don't want to have the impression that like you're trying to bribe people. So I would be aware of gifting. I would just bring more along the lines of if they asked me to bring some food or a food item or something to that effect, that's the information I would bring with me to the party. So just more of a caution. Don't stay away from gifts because I think the maximum gift amount would be like $25 or something to that effect. So I would just kind of be aware of that and then ask what type of a party it was, if it's a potluck dinner or something, and then just bring a food item, something that's neutral. All right, like a salad. You can't go wrong with a good salad. Question number 8. I watched your video on KPIs and I realized that I have none of them. And I need to go to a subcontracting situation. So KPIs are key performance indicators. I do have a video that says if you're ready to do government contracts. So, my KPIs, if you have not seen it, take a look at it because a lot of people say, hey, I want to get the contract directly with the government, and you're not ready for that. I've got five criteria that I go by. You can easily watch. I think it's like a 5 8 minute video. Watch that. Take a look at those criteria, and see if any of it fits you. And then, like I said, this person, they watched the video, so they determined that they were not ready to be a prime contractor. They were, in fact, more suitable to be a subcontractor. It says I got my electrical license, my electrical contractors LLC business license. I've got it done. I've been doing commercial electrical work for the federal government for 17 years. Not sure if how I can apply that to past performance history. Working under other established contracts as a journeyman, foreman, superintendent. I've got POCs for several GCs. Not sure how to submit a price on RFPs. So this is kind of a loaded question. Let's just take it one step at a time. So the person's been doing commercial electrical work for the federal government for 17 years. Now, the first thing I would say, if you've been doing work and by the way, guys, if you have any questions, please send me an email. Send me a message in the live chat box, and I'll be happy to answer it. I'm just kind of running through questions that I have received already to help as we go through to try and give you guys ideas, concepts about some of the other things that people are going through. Hopefully, this will I can share it with you, and some of these things will hit points that maybe you've had questions that you've had or scenarios that you're faced with or you may run into. So like I said, if you have anything directly that affects your business, feel free to shoot it to me. All right. But going back to this, so this person says they've been working in commercial electrical for 17 years for the federal government. How can they apply that past performance? If you were a subcontractor on a job for the government, that past performance qualifies, right? So if you were ever working as a subcontractor, that past performance, it qualifies. I would say that would qualify as past performance. Working under established contract as a journeyman, foreman, and superintendent. Now, if you were not a business, then no, it won't qualify because you were an employee. So if you were an employee working for a company on a federal project, that experience would not qualify you. But if you were a company working as a sub of a sub, then yeah, it would because you do have experience actually doing the work under your name brand on the contract. So that distinguishes if you're a company working, yes. If you're a person as an employee, no, it doesn't qualify because you didn't actually accept the responsibility of the job. All right. I have point of contacts for several GCs. Not sure how to submit a price on RFP. When I plan on approaching them, was interested in electrical subcontracting. All right, so this person says they've got point of contacts for general contractors, but they're not sure how to submit an RFP, which is a request for proposal, and when approaching them. So if you have an idea about proposals or bids, things like that, as long as you know how to fill out the bid documents, the contractor themselves should know how to put together a price proposal for that job. So if you can follow the instructions on how to complete the RFP, then getting the price from the general contractor, that's the easy part. You just you send them the scope of services of what you want done, and they'll give you a price that you just plug in the blanks and turn it in to the government. All right. It says I need help in developing specifics like contingency allowances, taxation, insurance, bonding, and labor costs. Yeah. So again, the contractor who's going to bid the job on your behalf is going to help you put together in those factors: contingency allowances, taxation, insurance, bonding, and labor costs. They're going to help you put that information in. The only thing that you're going to really need to do is figure out what's an appropriate markup to add onto the contract when you're submitting to the RFP. And if you go through and watch the video that I submitted yesterday, Jeff, you'll see where I talk about how to handle that situation. All right. So yeah, don't if you guys are new to this and you don't know how to price a job, call one of your competitors. I mean, call, take the same job and act as if you're the government person. I'm not saying lie, but I'm just saying you call them up as if that you want a price on this job, and have your competitor give you a price. And then what you can do, I mean, we do that all the time. When I was working as a consultant for this painting company, and let's say I was painting, I wanted to figure out how much to bid a job for to paint a school. I would call my competitor and I say, hey, look, we've got this project to paint the school. It's this size, this square feet, blah 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 blah. and we ask them for a price. And then your competitor gives you a price, and then you'll have a benchmark number to know what to bid the job for. Easy. So I mean, if you're confused about how to price something, call a competitor. Call two or three competitors. Have them give you a price. People are so a lot of people out here, they want jobs so bad. I mean, they'll give you a number. They're not going to bother to ask. And every market's different. In fairness, so some people are busier than others, and depending upon what the size of the company, how big they are, how small they are, they may tell you they're too busy right now. But yeah, I would. I mean, that's a place to start. Is start by calling some of your competitors and finding out what they would price the job for, and go from there. All right, Freelance Nancy has a question in the live chat session. For example, there was a contract out for scanning 25,000 documents and PDFs files. These are typically Office Administrative Services, which is my primary NAICS code. I would need the equipment to do the work or even ordering office supplies and furniture. Where could I drop ship? How do I bid on contracts like these? All right, so I mean, if I had a job for scanning 25,000, if I had a job that was out there for scanning 25,000 documents into PDFs, then I would find a company who does industrial scanning services and get a price from them on what it would cost to have them do it directly. And then, I would turn that in as I would respond to the RP with their number plus a markup. That's what I would do. And, at the very least, this is what happens when you guys start bidding jobs. Once you start bidding jobs, then you'll get an idea of kind of the numbers and the price range. So by sitting back and not participating, you won't have any idea of where the numbers fall. But if you went through the exercise, and that's part of what I showed yesterday's video, if you go through the exercise of actually bidding the job, of calling a company, getting a price quote, and putting it together, and then responding to the RFP, which is your markup, then once they award the contract, you'll see where you fall at in the ballpark. So you can easily, like, let's say, for example, to bid these 25,000 scanned documents in a PDF, let's say the person charges $1 per scan. So that'd be $25,000. Let's say that you then turn around and say, okay, 25,000, you mark it up, and let's say you add 5 grand, so you turn it to the government for $30,000. Well, by going through the exercise of bidding that project, Nancy, and putting in the $30,000 price, when the job is awarded, you'll know right away if the person who got the job, if they have their own equipment or if they're outsourcing it as well. Just remember, you're assuming that you need the equipment to do the work. I find it hard to believe that someone's going to buy the equipment to do one scanning job. It's more likely that anyone who puts a bid like that together is going to outsource it as well. So that's what I would do. And then at the very least, you'll see if the person bid, let's say you bid 30,000. If someone bid 25,000 or 20,000, then you know that they own the equipment, and that may not be an opportunity that you can compete in effectively, because there are companies out there who own this type of equipment that are doing this projects. But on the other hand, let's say you bid 30,000 and the next guy bids 40, then you'll know that they're outsourcing it just like you, or they bid say 29,000. Then you know that that company or firm that beat you out is also outsourcing the work to an industrial team, and so it gives you an opportunity to come in and adjust your margins so that the next time around something like this comes out, you'll be able to effectively compete. All right. Yeah, but and I didn't factor in shipping and stuff like that, but you got to factor in those things. All right, freelance Nancy. I'm watching the contract to see who was awarded so I can contact them and ask if they need assistance. No, not in the course. Yes, perfect, excellent. Now, before you reach out to contact the award winner, make sure you have an idea of the price that what it's going to cost you to get it done. So if you don't even have a price ballpark, then once you call them, if they pick up the phone and ask you what's your numbers, you can't really assist them. So what I would do is, I'd find out, I get a price in mind of what it would cost to get it done, and before I call the award winner. So at least you know what you're dealing with, because there may be some place where you can add value. What if, like I said, what if you had called, you got a quote from someone to do the whole work job for 25,000. The guy who was awarded the project got it for $40,000. Then there would be some place in there, some margin for you to play with. All right, but just but in order to be in the game, in order to know this stuff, you got to be actually out there and doing the activities necessary. All right. Question number 9. Hey, I'm just excited that I've got some help after all these years. I followed your steps and applied for the Mentor-Protege program, and I have my certificate. Congratulations, Jazzy. Happy to hear that. So now I want to find a mentor. Can you do a video on how to go about finding a good mentor? I don't want to be taken advantage of, and I do have to give a percentage of my business away. All right. So if you guys don't know what that is, go back and watch some of my first live training sessions where we discuss. You're very welcome, Freelance Nancy, where we discuss the Mentor Protege program, and that's one of the, what we call hockey stick ways of growing your business because you can literally start off and as a small company, and it gives you an opportunity to partner, create a joint venture and a teaming arrangement partnership. Where I'm sorry, a joint venture and a mentor protege partnership, to where now you can work with a company that's 10 times your size, and then they take on your small business size and allows you guys to compete in contracts that normally you wouldn't have the ability because you don't have the team, you don't have the manpower, you don't have the financial abilities or the wherewithal to do so. So that's what Jazzy's referencing here. That she went ahead and followed my steps and applied for the program and was accepted. So now she wants to know how to find a good mentor, and she's asking me to do a video on it, which we will work on discussing that in the near future. So congratulations, Jazzy, on that. I'm happy that you went through and took the steps. We'll work on doing a video on finding a good mentors for the program. All right. I can see right now you're going to be one of the first people to hit the $5 million mark if you keep up doing those types of activities. All right. Question number 10. Your lesson is very valuable. I wish I knew this. I wish I knew about this last year after I wasted 1 year of my time pursuing 8A certification, which was denied recently. From the last comments in your video, determining the right course, repayment, withhold delays by contracts. This issue seems to be a major concern when doing business with state and local government. On the other hand, such issues are less common in the federal level. Am I understanding this correctly? It would be nice if you can address this matter in next week's YouTube meeting, Joe. Yes, Joe. Joe made several good points in there, which I'm happy that he did when he sent this to me. First of all, he went through 1 year, and he didn't say how much money, but I'm sure he spent thousands of dollars applying for 8A certification and was denied. Remember, just because you pay people to help you get your 8A certification, nothing's guaranteed. Part of the determination factor is if your business shows the or demonstrates the ability of success. If you can't if you can't demonstrate the ability of success, then yeah, they're going to deny you from 8A certification. The second question he said was, there is a lot of issues from withholding and delaying payments from prime contracts at the state and local government, and this is very true. If you guys decide that you want to try the state and local approach, go to the people who are in charge, who are at the small business people at the state and local levels, and ask them, has there ever been any problems with contractors getting paid? Ask them. Ask them what is the history of success or failure from small guys like yourself being paid by the large contractors, and let them tell you. If they tell you that this has never been an issue, then that's wonderful. Maybe your city or your state is an exception. But chances are they're likely to tell you, well, this is an issue, and it happens occasionally, or it happens more oftentimes than not. So what I would say is, go through and ask the person, the official, the rep in that area, if this is an issue happening in your state or your city. Ask a small business person. They should be honest with you and tell you the truth because, they don't want to see people get hurt out there. I would suspect. So I would go to and ask them directly if that's an issue. All right. But yeah, that was a great point, Joe, that you made in terms of wasting your time on 8A certification. That's probably one of my only few videos that people did not like because it's so impressed upon people to get these certifications to win contracts, and it's so far from the truth and so far from what I teach you and I show you through my actions, my activities, and through the Govcon training course that I talk about religiously. All right. Question number 11. My name is Hassan. I was on your latest live video. The question I was trying to ask was about his father had a business. He passed away. He had all of his certifications as a veteran business. He passed down the certification, which is good for 10 years. They got their DUNS number, their SAMs and cage code. He's worked with his father in construction. He hasn't been doing it for about 12 years now. He's in finance. His business is in one state. He lives in another state. His family's in another state. They've done some small projects, remodeling schools. They've got 3 jobs of experience. The crew's in a different state. long story short, they're trying to do a JV with someone else in construction or trying to do JV simpler, like selling toilet paper or something, and the government would suggest. All right, so this individual has a certification, and they have experience of working in a particular business or arena. It looks like they've changed their course, and they're now trying to consider getting back into working a joint venture and construction. So what I would, my suggestion is, it just depends on the route that you want to take. If you are, um, if you're interested in going back into construction field, then yeah, I would definitely look at pursuing a joint venture with a larger firm using my service disabled veteran owned status. Same thing with you, freelance Nancy. You've got service disabled veteran owned business status. Look at now applying for the all new small mentor protege program. If you haven't caught that, go back to my live training like day one or day two. But yeah, look into, and also my on my scorecontracts.com/resources. It's on there, the all new small mentor protege program. I think I wrote an article about it on my blog as well. But yeah, if you guys, if you've got any of these certifications, definitely look into this new all new small mentor protege program, because I don't know how long it's going to be around, and for the time that it is here, you want to take advantage of it, because these things change, things come and they go, depending upon how successful they are or how they fail or how Congress feels. So you want to maximize the opportunities while they're there available to you. So yeah, I would my suggestion would be definitely, if you want to get back into construction, consider doing a joint venture. But moreover, to do any of this stuff is a full time commitment. So if you're not going to be in it full time and commit to seeing it through, then I wouldn't even bother, because even selling something like toilet paper to a sales system, I mean, it requires a commitment, it requires a team, it requires people to put these bids together. There has to be some effort on someone's part. So you can't really manage a full time finance career and then try to sell toilet paper to the jail, unless you've got virtual assistants or you've got administrative people who can oversee these contracts and bid them for you. Um, you're out competing against sharks, and they're working full time on it. So it would be difficult. I'd be hard pressed to say you're going to be able to effectively compete working part time or concentrating on a finance career. All right, let's see. Charm977, hey, how's it going? Welcome. And we're wrapping up. It's at 7:48. We've got about 12 minutes left on this bad boy today. All right, this person, there's a long question. Same thing, veteran owned business. Eric, your videos are very informative, helped me tremendously. I've got a few questions I'm hoping you can answer. Um, I want to get into subcontracts, but I want to ensure I have everything going. I'm putting together my capability statement. I'm focusing on this particular NAICS code, and it says my first question is, can I have more than one NAICS code? The answer is yes. You can have multiple NAICS codes. The second question is, what is a cage code? The cage code you will receive once you go through your SAM's registration. Take a look at my SAM registration video. Yes, you do have to have a cage code, but it's assigned to you. It's nothing that you pay for, so that's not a biggie. Does your business card have your NAICS code on it? Yeah, I would. On your business cards. Uh, hey, Jamil. Yes, I did receive your emails. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad I was able to answer your question. Yeah, I received your emails. It's just like I explained, I'm getting a lot of emails now, a lot more emails, and so I'm trying to I'm going through everything, and not only that, I'm getting questions, comments, and it's been a lot for me. So it's been quite overwhelming for me as well, guys. Just so you know, I'm not I'm a person, I'm human. I actually feel like I'm getting to the point where I may need to hire a team to help me with just managing this stuff here. All right. So going back to this question from Wright, W. Wright, is so yes, you can have more than one NAICS code. The cage code is assigned to you when you register for SAM. On your business card, yeah, I would have my primary NAICS code and secondary NAICS code. I would also DUNS number. Cage codes aren't necessary. Business cards aren't used that often. I mostly use capability statement, but if you're gonna have a business card, yeah, definitely have your a primary NAICS code and a DUNS numbers on it. Um, so yeah, that's the short and dirty on that. Okay, guys. Question number 13. This is a long question. Currently working in a consulting role In this role, I reach out to owners and I pitch them a meeting, eventually sell them on allowing me to finance the properties. All right, let me skip through that. My plan is to start out as a consultant, study for my contracts license while consulting, building relationships, building reserve, then go after big contracts. I may be thinking too deep about, but I'm still confused on what steps to take to go this route. Maybe you could reference in a few videos like you've done in the past so I can review them or answering would be better. Please, as a consultant, should I be doing something different? What value am I bringing to my potential client? Am I getting them a contract or JVing with the contract on them? How would I get paid as a consultant? All right. Like, so my response to this person was that they're way overanalyzing this. As a consultant, basically you find contracts for people the same way you would do for yourself. And the value that you bring them is you're bringing them contracts and opportunities that they would not otherwise have. And so, by my definition, consultant is a person who's representing a firm like an outside salesperson, except you are a separate entity. So, all you do is the contracts will be in the name of that firm. Hence, there's no reason. Hence, the reason why I'd say you don't have to be registered, certified, or licensed in order to help get those contracts. And then, in terms of payment, payment is like real estate, where you eat what you kill. So, again, if you don't bring any contracts, then you're not going to get paid for it. You sign a subcontract agreement with them to pay you for services once you deliver upon finding them a client. So um, in my case, I go out, I have this company, this big company, I find a contract, they give me the price, I put it together, we bid the job. They're now awarded the job. Once they're awarded the job, our agreed upon price is then we put together a subcontract agreement, right? So we put together something in writing saying, let's see, X company will pay Y company, you know, this price, right, for contract BC. All right. And I mean, that's essentially what I would do. Is I would say, all right, X company is going to pay Y company this agreed upon amount for that contract. And I would get a subcontract agreement that stated those items with that person and with that company, and that's how you would get paid. So you would write yourself into the actual contract, and that way, if anything happened, your percent markup's built in, and you also get credit as a subcontractor working on the job. And then in that case, like for me, my responsibilities and duties were typically administrative. So what does it do? It helps you build up past performance, uh, because now you are a subcontractor on a government project. You are using someone else's name, which has past performance. They've got experience, so you're able to leverage that. They have teams, they have money. You're able to help with that stuff. So all of these things are going to be positives for you in the long term, moving forward. All right. And like I said, payments like real estate, you eat what you kill. So if you don't find them a contract, then you don't make any money. But yeah, that's what I do. Normally, like I said, my percent that we agreed upon, just starting out, we start at, let's say, 25% of the profit, depending upon the size and work of the area. And so, like I said, it's not 25% of the revenues because you don't know at the end of the day how much revenue is going to be out there. It's 25% of the actual profit on the job because revenue is a harder number to determine what's the actual revenue going to be. So I would stick with 25% of the profit on that. All right, guys. It looks like it's 7:54. Yeah. So it wouldn't make sense to work as a consultant in the next category I plan to work in. For all you guys' question out there, Charles' question was, would it make sense to work as a consultant in the next category that I plan to work in? Yes, it would make sense to work in the same next category as a consultant that you want to eventually work in as a contractor. Yes, that would make sense. But as life has it, you're not always given, the opportunity to pick and choose, where the opportunity is going to come from. And in essence, you're not going to either you elect to work with the best people than work in your specific area of business. You know what may happen? You may actually find that working with this other big firm is more lucrative than the next go that you thought would be better suited, or that you may have experience in, or that you may want to actually do business in. Oh, and there's, that's a twofold answer. Yeah, it's great if you want to start off as a consultant and you want to start off working in that NAICS code. That's wonderful. But if you have the opportunity to work with a huge IT firm because your friend's father owns the second largest IT firm in Houston, Texas, I would start off with the IT firm in Houston, Texas, rather than, a painting NAICS code because I want to be a painter one day. That would be the way I would approach it. Get to the people who can help you get to your $5 million in business the quickest. That's what I would do. All right. Anybody else out there? You're welcome, Charles. Freelance Nancy, you still there? Charm977. Anybody? Anybody else? Okay. Um, Nobody? All right. Well, hey, with that, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down today. Hey, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Make sure you sign up for my email list so you can receive tips, tricks, tools, things that help you win contracts. I know there's some people that may even be on the Govcon Giants list, but they're not on my actual Score Contracts subscriber list. So make sure if you are on the Govcon Giants list, there are, if you have not received an email from me, there's probably about 15 or so emails that I'm sending out in between the so every couple of days. If you're on my subscription list, you should receive an email like day 3, day 5, day 7, day 10. If you're not receiving those emails, that means you're only on the GovCon Giants list and you're not on the Score Contracts list. So make sure that you also have signed up for the Score Contracts list, and not only just the GovCon Giants training list, because the Score Contracts list, which is my GovCon Club, that's where I'm sending out the videos, and that's where I'm sending out like messages on LLCs and things that the course has not received. All right. By the way, I forgot to mention this today. I'm going to go back to it. If you have not signed up for Small Business Mastery webinar, we did have some people go through it already. I'm getting some positive feedback on it. So if you have not signed up for Small Business Mastery webinar, go to scorecontracts.com/resources. Sign up for that. We are going to be rolling it out, the beta version, to probably, I would say, 20 people. I'm going to probably cap it off at the first 20 people to go through and test that beta version before we make the real thing. And yes, the consulting video is coming up for you guys out there waiting. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Have a great day.